I've never been more beautiful in my life. I gotta get into character. That's what that was. I have a very special Christmas transformation happening right now, and let me give you a sneak peek. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be good. Today we are doing the Grinch. I actually bought this foam latex prosthetic online on Etsy.com. I'll put exactly where I bought it down below so you can find one for yourself. There are a few places that you can buy it. Some come in 2 pieces with the forehead and the mask itself. Depends on who sculpted it and who molded it. Without further ado, let's transform ourselves into the Grinch. This is going to be not a sit down chit chat, get ready with me. This is going to be a tutorial for you guys to know how to put on a prosthetic. So if you want to see how to transform yourself into the Grinch, keep on watching. Okay, so for step 1, gotta get rid of this. For step 2, the Grinch has these yellow eyes, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop in some yellow contact lenses. These are from Camo Eyes. They're just avatar looking lenses. I'm gonna pop those in real quick and then we will start applying the prosthetic. Bada boom. Now it's time to put on this prosthetic piece. Oh yeah. And to do that, we're gonna be using an adhesive called Prosthetic. When applying a prosthetic, you wanna make sure you're doing it in pieces. So I'm gonna start by gluing down the nose first, and then I'll glue down the sides, and then I'll glue down the forehead, and then we'll focus more on the edges, okay? If I can get this thing open! Oh yeah, muscles! So we're gonna apply some Prosthetic and wait for it to get tacky on my face. And we're gonna do the exact same thing on the actual prosthetic. We're going to put some Prosthetic on the nose and wait for it to get a bit tacky. The most important parts of the prosthetic are the edges around the eyes and the edges around the lips. All right, it is on my nose. We're gonna be sure to have Prosthetic on our forehead here, as well as the sides of our face. Now, since I am going to be talking in this tutorial, the mouthpiece may actually come undone because I'm going to have to consistently speak, but we're going to try our best to make sure that it doesn't. Now, the forehead edges, I'm not going to worry too much about because we are going to have the Santa hat sitting on our head, but I do want to make sure that they're not going to be going anywhere if anything is pulled, so I'll still glue them down. Another tricky area when applying a prosthetic to yourself is around the eye area. It's kind of easier to use a brush. Use a brush that you don't really care about. But on yourself, it's very tricky because you also have to keep your eyes open to glue down the edges. If someone else is applying a prosthetic for you, it's easy to keep their eyes closed and to glue the edges around. So be extra cautious when applying the edges with a brush. Same thing with the other side. All right. And since this prosthetic was not particularly made on a face cast of my face, a lot of the pieces actually may fit a bit differently. Still, for the edges here, I'm going to use a product called Bondo. It's a thicker adhesive, but we really want the edges to be flash to my actual skin. Now, you don't want to use a whole lot of this because then it's going to be completely obvious that there's something glued to your face. But for an edge like this, I really want this to be disguised on my skin. This is the biggest problem area that we're gonna see. Let's let that dry and let's prepare to paint. Be sure that you have a reference photo. That is the most important part, is getting the coloration correct on the Grinch. I'm gonna pull mine up right now. So I've got some baby powder right here. Dust off all of the edges of this prosthetic, especially around the eyes where we had that Prosthetic next to the edges. We want to be sure that we can open or close our eyes without any sticking. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Step 1, I'm neutralizing the color of the actual foam and putting a blood layer underneath. Yes, I know the Grinch is green, but we do want to put this on just so that the yellow hues of the foam latex don't show through. Especially down here, the undertones of my skin are red, so I want to be sure that this is neutralized, because if I'm coloring this in complete green, I still want it to be the same color of green as it is on my chin. This is my actual skin. So we're going to neutralize the color of the foam to make sure that it all matches together. Okay, now it's time to turn green. This is an important thing to know. Usually when you're painting a foam latex prosthetic, people use something called PAX paint, which is a mixture of acrylic paint and Prosthetic. I know that a lot of people don't have PAX paint necessarily when it comes to something simple that you're gonna wear at home or at a Christmas party like that. Plus, you already probably have cream paints at home. It may be hard wherever you're from to get Prosthetic. There may not be a pro makeup store anywhere. So using a cream paint for this occasion is going to be just fine. You're not wearing it professionally, but it still is going to pay off. I'm using Makeup Forever color creams. I'm mixing the green with some of the yellow. I think that this is green enough. So let's go ahead and put this base coat everywhere. La da da da. I kind of look like a green army man, but with the face of the Grinch, because everything's just one color. Now it's time to add some more highlights and shadows into this face. We're going to be using yellow as a highlight, and we're going to use a darker green as a shadow, okay? For the highlights, I'm using this yellow Makeup Forever color stick, and then I'm going to use this Ben Nye brush, and let's paint in some highlights. So highlights are going to be here. I'm going to put the highlights in, and then we'll blend them out just to show where they're going to go. The highest points of the face. There's going to be highlights on each one of these ridges. So we've got highlights put in. Now let's go ahead and blend those out. So you see how already it's giving you such dimension from the highlights to the shadows, and we haven't even put a shadow color in yet. But it is dividing what is hitting the light and what is falling behind. And I am dipping into a darker green color, and we're going to be putting that in the creases and the shadows of this face. This is a very time-consuming part because you do want to make sure that all of the details are in there. And just because it's a smaller space, like in the nose, you still want to hit it. You still want to go over that edge. You don't want to just say, nobody's going to notice. Go ahead and put it in there, and it'll still make a difference. Do you see how each of these ridges are already popping out so much? I've never been more beautiful in my life. I gotta get into character. That's what that was. Now, before I go any further, there is one more step that I want to put into this look to make it look even more realistic, and that is doing a bit of fleckling, a bit more texture onto the prosthetic. So I'm going to be grabbing a alcohol-based paint and dipping into some darker colors with a stipple sponge. You can use a toothbrush, you can use a regular brush. I'm going to be using this stipple sponge, and I'm just going to be putting some texture into the skin. Not everybody has perfect skin, not even the Grinch. So go ahead and put some texture back into his face. Okay, and now it is an appropriate time to powder him down. Alright, now for the Grinch's hair, we are using something called crepe wool. If you are on a budget, you can grab yourself a really cheap wig, get a hair color, a green hair color, and spray it green. That's basically what this is. So I'm gonna put on the Santa hat right now, so that way I know exactly where to put this hair and these brows. All right, now going in with a Prosthetic again. We're gonna be super careful with this, placing the hair. Whew, and hair is the worst thing to work with. So be sure that you have some Vaseline nearby if you need to oil up your fingers, because it's going to stick to everything. Grab the crepe wool that we have and glue down the side here. Now, we all know that hair has different hairlines, so it's easier to start from the back and move forward, kind of like shingles. So I'm putting a hairline back here, and then I'm going to use a little bit more hair, and we're going to do an even closer hairline, so that way it doesn't look like just one harsh line of hair. And it'll still blend right into the rest of the hair. Okay, and let us continue. We'll put the hair right here. And you're gonna keep doing this until you have hair all the way down your sideburns, and then we're gonna do the brows as well. I'm grabbing some hair serum and curling the edges of this crepe wool, and then curling it around my finger. And once it's curled, go ahead and hairspray it. We're going to apply that using Prosthetic again on our brow bone. The Grinch is going to be rocking some Kush mascara today. For the teeth, the Grinch has some pretty gross teeth, so we're going to go ahead and brush those out. This is Mayron's Tooth Effects and Nicotine. Be sure that your teeth are pretty dry before putting this on. Now for the hair inside my chest. Yeah! It looks like I have some leftover crepe wool. We could do some Grinch fingers here. So I'm just using the same Prosthetic adhesive with the same Grinch crepe wool, gluing it on my hand, bottoms of your fingers as well, and you can stretch that crepe wool to cover it and buckle it up right here on the edge. All right, one more finger to go. And voila, we are the Grinch. If you guys liked what you see, go ahead and subscribe down below, give me a Grinchy thumbs up, and hit that notification bell as well, and I will see you every single Friday in the new year. So, see you later.